Were you ringing that bell?
I've been expecting you. It was foretold by gyromancy.
There it is. She said
What
it.
are you talking about?
The classic line right
I
there.
knew you'd come.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Silent Hill 1. Boy, it's been a while since we last played this game. Been too busy with Death Stranding. That is a very good game. I don't care what anyone else says. Some people refer to it as a walking simulator, but it is much more than that once you really get into it. So I've been pretty busy with it over the past like 3 weeks or so. But now we get to go back to this game. You can hear the bells tolling. So obviously someone out there wants our attention. So there's someplace we need to go. So last time we left off, we were in the school, which we're still here, and we had just defeated the first boss in the game, the lizard monster, from the fairy tale book. After Harry had more or less been eaten once by the monster, but that one doesn't count. So we gotta head back to town. Everything's pretty much locked, so there's no place to go except outside. But yeah, boy, it's been a long time since I recorded anything. Just haven't had time to record. Just been too busy with Death Stranding, trying to finish it before the second game comes out in a couple weeks. We have seen some pretty interesting news on the video game front, which I'll get to later. It's been kind of a couple, well, more than a couple rough weeks financially. Finally managed to win something. I won 400 a while back, and then I won a few more hundred. Finally, some golf bets actually cashed. So of course, what did we do? We took some of that money and used it for some Nintendo games for the Switch 2. That actually came out, and it's pretty good so far. I don't know if it's worth the whole price, but the new Mario Kart World is pretty good. There's way too many throwaway characters though. That's one thing that pretty much everyone I've talked to has noted, that there should have been more significant characters. Instead of throwaway characters, you have like Cow, and you have like a coin, not a coin purse, but some type of coin container or whatever that thing is. You have a snowman and a dolphin, so that there's a lot of throwaway characters that they could have gotten rid of and given us some real characters instead, like Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's friend Diddy, he's not in there. There's no characters from Mario RPG technically. Like, there were just a lot more stuff they could have done. Kirby, Star Fox, instead of just giving us throwaway characters. So we need to head to the Balkan Church. You can see right there. So that means we're gonna have to go back to the house we came in through, and then yeah, go back through the house and then go back to the church near the bridge. Actually, I wonder, do we have to go back to the house or not? I don't recall. Because I know you can head down Bradbury Street, but I don't recall the church is right there, or if I guess we'll just see. I guess we'll see if once we get there. If the road is blocked out, then we have to go back through the house. So yeah, there were too many throwaway characters there, but other than that, it's a pretty damn good game. Oh yeah, the bridge is out, so we have no choice but to go back through the house. If I can find out where it is. Looking forward to Donkey Kong in July. Got the Princess Peach game. I've been playing that. It's pretty decent. It's very simple but very fun. You basically switch roles between the different plays that are being attacked by I guess it's this witch from another dimension or something that's attacking the playhouse. So you switch roles so Peach can wield a sword. She can be a baker or patisserie as they call it. There's a pirate one, there's a ninja, stuff like that. So it's kind of the same way you used to switch roles in Ape Escape 3 with the gadget there that let you like take on different costumes for like a minute or two. It's pretty much the same thing here, except the different costumes are all levels. And there's a lot of them. Yeah, we gotta go back to the house. If only Harry could fly, right? Just fly right over that damn thing. Or teleport to it like Alan Wake. Just step into a hole in time and space and just come out on the other side like Alan does. Although Harry was the original writer in video games investigating creepy stuff. I don't think the characters from Alone in the Dark count, because I don't think any of them was ever a writer, right? I think it was just like Emily Hartwood. She was related to one of the guys at the center of the story, and then Carnby was just a detective. Then he got reincarnated and all this stuff, all this bullshit happened. But I don't think anyone in that series was ever a writer, right? I think they were always just they were either regular people or they were Carnby, who was already a detective. So before Alan Wake, we had Harry Mason. Where is that damn house? So the streets are clear for now, but we know that's not going to stick. Because I know full well by the time we get to the bridge, all the enemies have respawned, so... Yeah, we gotta find out... Oh, is it this one? I think it might be this one. On 11th Street. Yeah, I think it might be on 11th Street with the arrow. Just a little bit more. Yeah, there's no enemies after you beat the boss, but then once you get over to the other side of the town, they'll respawn again. So if you want to go around exploring for items or stuff like that, this is pretty much the only chance you have to actually do so without being hounded by 3 dogs pursuing you. I could have sworn we came out through a backyard, didn't we? Thought it was a backyard. Is it this one? It is not. Where the hell is this house? Oh, do we have to go around it? Let's see. Maybe we have to go around it. Oh yeah, I think we have to go around. Let's see. Because I remember there was a yard with a table and everything. Oh yeah, here we go. There we go, there's the little patio set. Those are the stuff we marked on the map, which is no longer relevant. So this door is locked, but when you come back here in the New Game Plus, you actually be able to open up that door. There's a sword there that is by far the best weapon in the game, the katana. The way it works is every time you swing it, Harry basically slides across the floor, and strikes the enemy, and it deals massive damage. So basically, once you have that katana, you don't need anything else except maybe just a handgun, and that's it. You don't need to use any other weapons because they're all rendered pretty useless by the katana. It's basically a one-hit kill most enemies, two-hit kills at the most, but it is very, very effective, especially in the hospital against the human like nurses and doctors. Is definitely very effective there. But that is a bonus weapon, so we do not have access to that yet. If we are playing on New Game Plus, we would have access to it, but I decided to do a new game, so no bonus weapons. You can see the dogs already respawned. I know some people are whining about the Switch 2 being too expensive and oh, it's not worth the money yet because there are no games or whatever, or the technology is outdated. But it's like, we buy Nintendo consoles to play Nintendo games. You know, you can go on and on about a PC or PS5 or Xbox, but you can't play Nintendo games on any of those consoles. So like, you need a Nintendo console if you are a fan of those series, and they are pretty good. You know, like people say, oh, but isn't every Mario game the same? Isn't every Kirby game the same? Isn't every Zelda game the same? But it's like the whole argument can be applied to every other series too. Like, isn't every Call of Duty pretty much the same thing over and over again since like 1998 or the year 2000? Like, it's all the same thing. So like, why is it okay for Call of Duty to be the exact same thing basically for 30 years straight almost, but Nintendo can't do the same exact thing over and over again with its franchises? As long as the games are good and entertaining, that's all that matters. So yeah, there's been quite a bit of money to get the Switch 2. Once I actually won one of those golf bets that I was talking about, but so far it's worth it pretty much. You know, obviously I wish Donkey Kong was available on release. You know, that might have been something that Nintendo might have been wanting to contemplate, but maybe economic situation in certain countries forced their hand, if you know what I mean. Trying to get over to the church, but I forgot what the way is. Like, there must be an alley or somewhere we can go, because we need to head here, but the road was blocked over here. There was no way to get over there. Cut-right chainsaws is where you get the bonus chainsaw. I don't think that's open yet. So that way is out. That way is out. Maybe we can go through Madison Street. I did play a Fast Fusion on the Switch 8, on the Switch 2. It's $14.99, but it's actually pretty worth it. It's basically a spiritual successor to a Wipeout. If you remember the old Wipeout games from the PS1, good old-fashioned anti-gravity racing. And those games they were fun, but I never played more than maybe a few minutes of Wipeout XL. I know they made some sequels on the PS2. God damn it. Better get the hell out of here. I know they made some sequels on the PS2, but I don't think they were hugely popular. Nope, you missed. Oh, they got a dog? Oh, it's a dead end? Then how the hell are we supposed to get over to the church? How the hell do we get over there? Because if it's a dead end there, like, how are we gonna do this? Like, do we have to maybe... I guess we could try to go over to where Elroy Street is and see if maybe there's an alleyway or something there we can use. Or did we make a mistake? Because the thing is, it's blocked here, X, but I wonder, is it just to go up or is the whole street blocked? Like, maybe we have to go down Block Street. So I guess we might as well, go back to the other area then see if maybe that's where we were supposed to go. I'm gonna refer to the map about 1,000 times throughout this video, just because the streets are so huge. We can give it a try, just to see if maybe we go down Block Street. Harry's getting his cardio workout, that's for sure. Okay, so we got back there. Because I remember you do have to head back through the house to get to the bridge. You get a key for the bridge, but I don't remember how to get to the church. That's what we need to get. That's where you get the key. So like I said, I do wish they had a bit more games available on launch, and obviously everyone wished there were a new 3D Mario game at launch, but so far it's pretty good. No, see, it is locked. Okay, so we go down. Let's go down the alleyway. Maybe there's maybe it's not completely blocked. Oh, there's some bullets that I missed. Okay, so we go down here. Okay, here we go. So we should no, we can't because it's blocked off. So how the hell do we get to that freaking Balkan church? So it is blocked off. How the hell do we get over there? Oh, wait a minute. It's circled there. You think there might be like a little passageway or something? Because I remember that little wooden board we had to walk across to get one of the keys. Yeah, we had to do that earlier, so maybe we have to go back. It's been a long time since I fully played this game, so I just completely forgotten most of the stuff. Trying to see if there's maybe an alternate path. Like maybe there's an alleyway or something. Oh yeah, let's check it out because we're hearing the alarm for the creature, so maybe there is something here. Oh yeah, right there. That dog was too slow. Ah, okay, so now we're behind the cracked road. Use the K Gordon key. Alright, some bullets. Nice. More bullets. Right next to a pot. That's what those monsters are going to be eating for dinner. More bullets. And lead. Let's save here so that we don't have to do that all over again. Now it's important to remember for New Game Plus, it's this house that has no, it's the other house that has the sword in it, not this one. This one is just a regular locked door. It's the other one. It's not the K Gordon house. It's the other house that has the katana in it. And if you're also playing New Game Plus, you'd be able to get the cut right chainsaw from right there. And chainsaw's a decent enough weapon. It's kind of slow. Not quite as bad as the original Silent Hill 2 chainsaw, which kind of sucked. Because it did massive damage, but at the same time it was very unwieldy. It was very difficult to use. They improved it quite a bit in the remake, but it's still not my favorite weapon. I like this one here because it's more like the chainsaw Ash has in the Evil Dead series. So, you know, you're able to do more maneuvers with it. You can swipe back and forth pretty speedily compared to the chainsaw in Silent Hill 2 and 4. I think there's a chainsaw in 4 also, and it also kind of sucks there. Like Joe Bob Briggs said on Shudder's Last Driving, chainsaws are not a good weapon. You may think they are, but they're not. Have you ever seen Jason Voorhees in a movie use a chainsaw? No, you haven't, because he knows how much it sucks. You know, Jason might be an uneducated rube suffering from mental issues in the backwoods, but he knows a good weapon when he sees one, and he knows the chainsaw is not it. Like, seriously, for something that's so stereotypically associated with that type of killer in a slasher movie, if you look at the movies, you'll realize Jason Voorhees has never once used a chainsaw anywhere in his entire movie career, ever. Because he knows how much it sucks. It looks cool, it makes a lot of noise, but it's not an ideal weapon in any situation. The only reason Reggie Bannister ever used it in Phantasm 2 was because he had to fight the other guy with a chainsaw. So he had to go mano a mano with him. But other than that, unless you're Ash Williams, you just want to avoid chainsaws like they're plague. They are not a good weapon. As evidenced by Maniac Cop 2, where if you've ever seen Maniac Cop 2, the character from the first movie reappears in there for a short while, and she actually tries to fight the Maniac Cop with a chainsaw after he's gotten Bruce Campbell's character, and it does not go well for her. And you would think it would, because if she has a chainsaw that's gas powered, you know, you would think she could just slice up the zombie cop into 4 pieces and that'll be it, but it does not go well for her, even though technically technically Matt Cordell should be at a disadvantage there, even though he is undead. What is he doing? Is he just waiting there? I guess he was just pondering life there before he got into it with Harry, because he was just standing there staring at him. It's like, should I or should I not engage this man who has like 1,000 bullets? Now we see the answer is he probably shouldn't have engaged him. Yeah, look at that. We have 196 bullets and 21 shotgun shells. We have enough ammo to kill every single monster in this town. So that pterodactyl made a very unwise decision. He should have just minded his own business. Alright, we're almost there. Yeah, it's funny how cliche the chainsaw is as a slasher movie weapon. If you look at it, all the major movie slashers, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, the lesser known ones, almost none of them use a chainsaw. That thing sucks. It's one of the things that looks cool, but is not actually cool once you try to utilize it as a weapon. It's too slow, too unwieldy, too noisy, and once you run out of gas, it's useless. I think Ginny used it against Jason. Yeah, she did use it against Jason in part 2. But sadly for everyone in Crystal Lake, she did not kill him. She only used it to scare him, basically to frighten him into going back, and then she hit him over the head with a chair. It probably would have been better for everyone in Crystal Lake if she had killed him, but unfortunately she did not. And Jason backed away pretty much instantly. He knew to get away from the mad woman with a chainsaw, but if you're trying to use it offensively outside of a very, cramped, enclosed space like that, it's pretty much useless. Because it's too slow. It's too slow to properly, swing at people. It's too noisy, so they hear you coming. It's relying on gas, so that means once you run out of gas, the thing's useless. There's no such thing as an electric chainsaw. Except in that one crappy VHS movie, Things, from like 1991 or something like that. They have an electric chainsaw. Mystifyingly, because they should not have access to that in that time period, but somehow they have, I guess, an electric chainsaw. Other than that, no. You do not want to use a chainsaw as a weapon under any circumstances unless you absolutely do not have a choice. And keep in mind, in the Friday the 13th movies, Jason has his choice of weapons. He can get his hands on any weapon that he wants when he's not just out there using his hands. He never goes for the chainsaw. So that should tell you how effective it is if even freaking Jason Voorhees will not go for a chainsaw to kill someone. Alright, we made it to Balkan Church. Also, good thing too that we waited to record this because they announced the Silent Hill 1 remake, finally. After all these years. Obviously the remake for 2 was a huge success. There were a few haters, some people left over from the old generation, 40 or 50 years old, who just don't want to adjust to the newer type of game. Some of the original gatekeepers, in a bad sense for the series, they're still around. And then you had some people, modern gamers, who they just didn't, I don't know how to phrase it, but they just didn't gel with the game. It just wasn't for them. But other than that, everyone pretty much loved it, It's pretty much universally agreed that Luke Roberts got ripped off by not winning any voice acting awards for James, because his performance pretty much was award worthy. And he had the misfortune of giving it in the same year where that chick from Hellblade and then the woman who voiced Aerith on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gave their performances, so that kind of took him down. In any other year he probably wins outright and probably wins several awards, but unfortunately he had to contend with those two ladies, and Aerith was pretty good. I've only heard a bit of her performance, but she's pretty damn good. And then the Hellblade chick, they made such a big deal about it being the psychologically driven game that there was no way he was going to beat her in a fair contest, even if his voice is superior. So it is what it is. But yeah, the second remake was pretty damn good. It's still one of my favorite games ever. Just about finishing up my last playthrough for it. We're using the green filter to take pretty much photo, you know, photographic snapshots of the entire world in that game. So I want to call it Silent Hill 2 Remake: A Visual Journey, and just upload it to YouTube, featuring the Silent Hill, soundtrack songs. Obviously, it won't be monetized because it will get copyrighted instantly. But I think it would be pretty cool to have it be like this. Have it be like this slideshow of all the games and monsters and settings in all the locations and monsters and settings and stuff you see in the game, set to like classic Silent Hill 2 music. I think that would be pretty damn cool if I can manage to piece together that. So it'll take a while though, because it's literally like 700 to 1,000 photographs, so we got a long time to develop that and piece it together. But yeah, I'm excited for Silent Hill 1. I'm eager to see what they do with it. I wish they'd port this game over to PS4 and PS5 so we can finally play it there. Maybe give it to Night Dive Studios to remaster like they did The Thing and other old survival horror games. But hopefully it's the start of a brand new era for Silent Hill and Konami. So far they don't seem to be doing pretty good. They started off kind of rough. Ascension was it was a train wreck. It was a debacle of epic proportions. The short message was split. Some people liked it. I liked it. Some people hated it. They thought the story was cliche. The voice acting was not good. Although I've heard teenage girls talk when I was in high school, I know what they sound like, and they definitely nailed that part. So I don't know what the people complaining about the voice acting were complaining about. I think it might be adults who are like 30 years past their high school days and don't remember what high school students actually sound like. That might be what people who are complaining about that. But it was a free game. It was a free game that lasted 2 hours, so you can only expect so much. They're not going to give you a masterpiece for free. If they thought they had a genuine masterpiece on their hands, they would have charged you $10 or $20 for that. So, because it's short, you can't charge $50, but they would have charged you. The fact that they didn't show us that they knew it might have been a decent but not great game is basically just a teaser for the type of things they want to do with Silent Hill. It's like a concept, like Kojima's Silent Hills, which PT stood for playable trailer or playable teaser. It was not supposed to be a full game. It's just showing you some concepts, the concept potentially what it could be. But yeah, I'll talk more in a minute. Now we're gonna meet another character very important to the Silent Hill lore.
Were you ringing that bell?
I've been expecting you. It was foretold by gyromancy.
There it is. She said
What
it.
are you talking about?
The classic line right
I
there.
knew you'd come. You want the girl, right?
The girl? You're talking about Cheryl.
I see everything.
You know something? Tell me.
Stay back. Nothing is to be gained from floundering about at random. You must follow the path. The path of the hermit concealed by flowers.
What? What are you talking about?
Here, the flowers, a cage of peace. It can break through the walls of darkness and counteract the wrath of the underworld. These will help you. Make haste to the hospital before it's too late.
Wait, don't go yet.
Stay back, Harry. There was something silver and shining on that lectern right there. It looked like she had a knife. But it's actually a key. We got the flowers. That would be so cool to have a collectible of that. Yeah, it's actually the drawbridge key. It's not a knife, although it looked like a dagger. Yeah, gyromancy. Apparently, that is some type of ceremony where you basically ingest something to get you almost drunk, and then you spin about in a circles, pointing to letters, and the letters basically foretell a certain prophecy. So, very bizarre, weird stuff. Won't open. It must be locked from the other side. So, if you know anything about this game, and you've played this game before, you hear Dahlia's. We're gonna find out her name is Dahlia Gillespie later on, but you hear her spouting all this stuff, and you know, minor spoilers for what is almost a 30-year-old game, but if you read into what Dahlia is and who she really is and what she's actually trying to accomplish, you very quickly realize that all this religious bullshit that she just spouted at Harry is basically nonsense to make it sound like she's like she knows something about what's going on. And she does know what's going on, but it's not what he thinks. But yeah, it's basically gibberish meant to sound impressive. Like, oh, she understands something about the situation that's going on, where everything's becoming hellish and changing. You know, it's meant to confuse him intentionally and make her sound like she's you know, like she's knowledgeable about what's going on, not just crazy. Because you remember, Harry's a writer. Harry's a writer. And let me put it this way, but Dahlia definitely has her resources, so I actually wouldn't be surprised if she knew exactly who he is before he even sets foot in the town. And depending on what type of writer he is, whether he's a pulp novelist or a horror writer, we never really get an answer for that. We learn later on in the third game he likes mystery novels, but we never get an answer for what he actually writes himself. So depending on the type of writer that he is, she might know maybe that is the best way to confuse him, to just spout all that gibberish at him, and then it catches his interest enough that he becomes more intrigued by what's going on. It's like maybe it's the perfect way to manipulating him. But of course the question is, for what purpose is she manipulating him? For good or for bad? We'll find it out later. Pyramid-shaped object found in the church. Purpose and use unknown. We cannot use it. I guess if we really needed to, we could just throw it at someone's head and knock them out. Or use it like a blunt object. Like that one Creepshow episode where the business lady turned on her lover, and she basically hit the girlfriend with like this blunt object, and she didn't expect her to topple over onto the glass table, and basically it ended up impaled in her head, so she killed her. Then she was trying to wheel out the body, and what ended up happening was there was like an earthquake or something like that, or a blackout, and she basically got stuck in the elevator with the dead body of her own girlfriend. And wouldn't you know it, it is Creepshow, so you know some things are supernatural, things are gonna happen later on. Just to say, I think it was called Lydia Lane's Better Half, or the Better Half of Lydia Lane, something like that. Pretty decent episode from season 1. That's still my favorite. That's still my favorite season of the Creepshow show. You know, it's cliche for TV shows and movies that people always say, oh, the first season is the best, and then nothing else ever lives up to that. Actually, quite a few TV shows do surpass their seasons 1 and 2. A lot of them actually, but the problem is some of the more memorable shows don't surpass their first initial seasons, and that's why the stereotype takes form. And Creepshow, unfortunately, is one of them where they started off very strong, and the second season was still okay, but then going into the third and the fourth, and this was specifically because of budget, because Shudder had its budget reduced by AMC by a lot, and so they weren't able to put as much resources into them, and so some of those season 3 and season 4 episodes ended up kind of crappy. I don't agree with the fans who say, oh, the show completely went to hell, it should have been cancelled, because there's so few anthology shows on TV that are horror related that every one counts, you know, every single one of them is precious. Yeah, the first season of Creepshow was the best. And you can also see it by the way they get diminishing returns on the extras, because in the first season, when it was a big hit, they gave you um, commentary tracks for almost every episode in the series at that point. I think there's some resources here. Oh yeah, this is where you get the rock drill, which is one of the most useless weapons in the entire game. Like, I thought that was gonna be so awesome. Oh, you get a drill? Like, you can drill the monsters? You know, you can drill them with like a power drill, and then when you actually use that thing, it is the biggest piece of crap imaginable. Like, Harry would be better off just throwing it in a dumpster or a trash can and going with something else. Like, using that blunt object right there, using that bottle or whatever that thing is actually more effective than using the rock drill. But trust me, I've played this game several times over the course of my life. That rock drill is a piece of shit. It is one of the worst bonus weapons I have ever seen in any game, period. Like, the emergency hammer, which is an actual it's a standard weapon that I recently found out was not supposed to be included originally. It got included at the last minute, and that's why it's so strong and overpowered. But that emergency hammer is actually far more useful than the bonus weapon you get here. I think you get the rock drill for either getting a certain ending or getting a certain number of stars. I think it's a certain ending you have to get the rock drill, but it is not worth it, man. That thing is an absolute piece of shit. Do not ever use the rock drill. Don't ever use it. Just go for the chainsaw or the katana. Or just stick with the emergency blast. I was going to say emergency blaster. The emergency hammer like I do. For guns, the hyper blaster is the best gun in the game. Besides the shotgun, but don't ever use the rock drill for anything. It is not worth it. It sucks. And there's another weapon slasher villains almost never use. A drill, because it's so limited. And of course it's got to be plugged in, so but unless it has a battery pack, it has to be plugged in, so by the time you actually plug in the stuff and get it working again, unless you've tied the person down, they can just run away and be half a mile away from you by the time you get that drill working. So there's another weapon that's kind of useless for self-defense. Let's grab these bullets right here. I do wonder how they're going to do Dahlia in the remake, because if you've noticed, she's kind of old here. She's very old, actually, and that's not unusual, especially in many overseas countries for, very old people to have younger kids, but she is really old. And she's only she's old physically, because I think her age is only like 46, but she just looks like a very, very old woman in her 60s or 70s. Maybe even in her 80s. You can argue about what the cause of that is. Maybe it is some of the drugs that are lurking around here, as we'll soon find out. But I wonder how they're gonna do her. It would be interesting if they did a slightly younger version like the movie, but obviously didn't take it in the direction that the movie went, making Dahlia into a sympathetic character. Because come on, hell no, she's not a sympathetic character. She's actually one of the worst people in the entire series. But is what she's trying to do here actually for evil, or does she have a better purpose in mind? So we'll find that out later. But Dahlia herself is not a sympathetic human being at all. So don't expect too much of her if you're playing this for the first time. Man, these streets are massive. That is one thing I hope they fix. Because yeah, I don't think we have a street this wide anywhere in Philadelphia like this. And this is basically a result of the Japanese development team at Konami and not exactly knowing what American streets look like, so they base it on I guess streets they've seen in Japan and other parts of Asia. Must be other parts of Asia, because I've seen some Japanese streets and they are not all that big either, so maybe it was based on other parts of Asia. But these are some absolutely massive streets, and no town in America has streets these massive. So that is something they had to fix. Oh, we gotta get to the bridge. I was wondering, where's the stairs for the bridge control? But no, we got to get over there. Yeah, they gotta make it look like an actual town. Now the problem is though that Bloober team, which is doing the Silent Hill 1 remake, is Polish, and apparently the Polish also have bigger streets than ours, so they might have to fix that too, because apparently that was one minor complaint people had about the Silent Hill 2 remake. Yeah, the streets aren't as massive as the Japanese made games are, you know, but at the same time they're still bigger than American streets. So you went from Japanese to Polish. You went from huge mega-sized streets. I'm guessing in places like South Korea, or maybe some of the country places in Japan have large streets like that. But you went from having really large streets to streets that are much more reasonable for a Western setting, but are still pretty damn huge. So yeah, somebody asked if with the increased budget, the development team at Bloober might have a chance to revisit that as elementary school that was the basis for Midwich here. I believe it was the same one where they filmed Kindergarten Cop with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That might actually be a good idea. Like, I don't think it's necessary because they already have the blueprint of what the school looks like in this game, and all you gotta do obviously is just play it. And then also they have pictures obviously for the school, but it might be a good idea just so that Bloober team can actually see for themselves what actual American streets in a small town look like, and then model them appropriately. Because remember, South Vale, where James is at in Silent Hill 2, is pretty much like the abandoned section of Silent Hill. Like, the town of Silent Hill itself is not abandoned. There's still people living there, although not many. Henry said it's a quiet, relaxing little resort town in Silent Hill 4. We have no reason to disbelieve him, but there are still people living there. But South Vale itself is deserted, and the radio announcer in both 2 and the remake of 2, the one who does the game show, tells you outright it's a deserted little neighborhood called South Vale. So South Vale is abandoned. So it kind of makes sense that the streets there would be shaped differently, because it's from a different era. You know, it's not modern, but Central Silent Hill and Old Silent Hill are modern, so it's probably best to have them look like an actual Midwestern small town here, or like a small town in Maine, because again, you're going to be visiting areas that are much more modern and should look a lot more like our neighborhoods actually look like. You know, you don't want to have these huge massive streets like this one right here, or even just like the streets in the remake of 2, because again, like, if it's a modern functioning resort town, it's going to look like a modern functioning resort town, you know. We don't want to have 50 foot square streets in every single corner of the game. So that might actually be a good idea for them to use some of that extra money they made from the remake of 2 to take a trip to America, or at least pay other people to take a trip to America, because we're kind of fucked right now. But it might be a good idea to actually send someone here to visit, like, because I believe the team for Silent Hill 2 did send one guy, I believe, to America to photograph buildings and stuff in California, and that's where they got some of the that's where they drew some of the inspiration for the architecture from those buildings that he saw. So it might benefit Bloober to do the same thing and just send one guy. Like, maybe it's too problematic to send the whole squad, but maybe just send one guy, a photographer here, and he can capture images of all the locations they want to use, including that school from Kindergarten Cop, so that they know exactly how to portray it. You know, how to update it while still looking real and plausible. Especially because the next Silent Hill game is Silent Hill F, which is being worked on by Neobards. And that takes place in Japan in the 50s or 60s, so obviously that's no help there. They can't look to that game for any inspiration of any sort, because that's in Japan, so that's not going to help them. We don't even know what Townfall is yet. People are assuming it's going to be a very heavy puzzle-based game just because it's Neocode. Is that what they're called? Neocode? No, they're called No Code. They're the ones who did Stories Untold, so... Suncorp 386. I wonder if that means anything. Yeah, they're the ones who did Stories Untold, so... We're assuming it's going to be very heavily puzzle-based, but we don't know what the actual story is or what it's going to be about. The term Townfall implies to me one or two things. Either one, it's the story of how the Order kind of brought about the town's downfall before this happened here. You know, before the cult that we're going to meet here in a few hours. Maybe it's showing how they kind of rose to strength. Or the other is maybe it's showing the decay of another town nearby Silent Hill, like Brahms or Pleasant River, one of those towns which are also affiliated with the supernatural. So maybe it's showing the demise of an entire town, but we don't know what that is yet, so Bluebird Team can't look to inspiration for their either. So basically you're kind of stuck. You pretty much have no choice but to look to obviously the first game for inspiration, because that's what you're remaking. But then also, like I said, it would benefit them to maybe send one or two guys over here to photograph stuff and, you know, actually get a feel for what American small towns in places like Maine and the Midwest actually look like. You know, that might benefit them a lot. Just a suggestion. But it's up to Konami, because obviously Konami's making all the financial decisions, so it's up to them. Trying to find the police station because there's some ammo there and some health. Grandmaster. What does that say? Let's see. Is it music store? Grandmaster store. Oh, bookstore. They have a lot of bookstores in Silent Hill. Must be a pretty decent place to live if you're a fan of fiction, or if you're a writer working on a book. This would be a pretty ideal place. Now we have to watch out for those here, because as you can see we have a new enemy here. They're called the 8 Men, and these guys will chase you down literally for blocks. They are non-stop. They do not stop for anything. They are completely ruthless. They will chase you down for literally like 5 blocks straight or 6. And now they're working combined with the pterodactyl. So that's a bad situation right there. Okay, so we have to go up. We have to go straight ahead and then turn left on Sagan Street. And don't stop running until we do, because they will catch you. The 8 Men are surprisingly fast. They may look and sound goofy like men wearing costumes, but they are surprisingly fast. They will catch your ass, even if they have to track you down for 5 blocks straight. That would be scary as hell in the remake when we get it in like 2027 or 2028. Imagine that, an enemy that will not let up. They will not stop pursuing you. And they're not like Mr. X. They're not one pursuer enemy. It's literally just the regular enemies in the game. But imagine they're following you for like 5 or 6 blocks straight. That would be nightmarish to some people, because you can't shake them. You either have to keep going and risk your character getting extremely tired, or else you just have to stand your ground and fight them. God damn it. He just lunged right at Harry. Let's get in there. I do want to see that police station in HD though, so that's one thing I'm looking forward to. Some people say this was creepy, this poster here with the half skull. This was one of the Easter eggs I detailed way back in when I explained all about that GeoCities page that had all the Silent Hill references and stuff. You have this one here with the half skull. That's actually a reference to Psycho. When you see the end picture of Norman Bates at the end, where you have the skull superimposed over his right half, so half of him is human and half of him is a skull, showing how insane he's gone. So I think that's a reference to that. Some bullets. one thing that's funny though, I was reading some of people's reactions to Silent Hill 1 remake on Reddit, which is never a good idea, as I've told you many times before, but it actually was surprisingly decent this time. I didn't see too many complaints, which is always pleasant when you go in expecting the worst and you actually get a pretty decent reaction, so that's always nice. But I found it funny because people are saying, oh, I hope it's not too action heavy like Silent Hill 2, or like Silent Hill F. I've seen people complain Silent Hill F is gonna be too combat oriented, too focused on action. And it's like, man, first of all, it's set in Japan in the 1950s. Those alleyways and streets are very, very narrow. If you're a skinny 15 or 16-year-old teenage girl and all you have is a pipe and these monsters are freaking huge, you're gonna have to fight because there's no way you're getting around them. It's pretty impossible to run from the monsters when they block the whole freaking area. If you're in a 6-foot wide alley and the monster's 4 feet wide, that leaves you very little room for maneuvering. You have no choice but to fight, because it's just the way those Japanese towns were structured, very tight enclosed quarters, not many very wide streets in that area in that time, in the countryside, so it's funny seeing that. Oh, there's too much action. It's like, how do you expect her to defend herself? Like, these monsters are huge. She can't go around them. She has to fight them. You have to go through them because there's no way around them, because there's literally almost no space for you to maneuver because everything is so tightly drawn together the way it was in real life. But it's funny seeing people say, oh, I hope there's not too much action like Silent Hill 2 Remake. There was too much action and combat for me. And when you look at this game and realize there's easily 100 enemies in the school, like, people who have that view of Silent Hill 1, oh, it's not really action based, it's not like Resident Evil action survival horror, you can tell they have really not played the game in a long time, maybe 20 years or so, because like I showed you earlier in the last video, there are easily 100 enemies in that school building. Easily 100 enemies. Like, we spent half the time just trying to shoot them or whack them to death or fight them in some fashion. So I find that funny, people thinking, oh, it's much more psychological than Resident Evil. It's not combat based, and it is more psychological. But as far as combat, Harry easily has to fight 300 or 500 monsters in this game to rescue his daughter. So like, let's cut the bullshit out. Like, don't go by your memories of the game. Sit down, actually play a game from that old time and look at what it was like instead of trying to remember what it was like, and then you'll see that Bluebird team actually stuck very, very close to the formula. Like, were the prison sections in Silent Hill 2 Remake a bit too long? Yes. There were a bit too many enemies of the spider variety. The spider mannequins, there were way too many of them. But as far as Silent Hill actually having lots of enemies itself, like I've told you, like we saw earlier, the school easily had 100 enemies in there. And I told you before, the original Silent Hill 2, when you're out at nighttime in the hospital and you're just wandering around after the whole Maria section, there's easily like 50 or 60 nurses and mannequins and patient demons wandering around the streets. So like, these games are full of enemies. They might encourage you to run, but they are full of enemies. So the idea that, oh, you should only have 1 or 2 enemies in a section because it makes it more scary, like, you're picking that stuff up from Outlast or Soma or whatever all those modern survival horror games are. That's not Silent Hill. Silent Hill has always had an abundance of enemies in every single room. That's the way it functions, Even the old Silent Hill 2 had like 20 or 30 mannequins and spitters and roaches and all that stuff in the apartment buildings that you go to, the first section of the game. So Silent Hill has always been crammed with enemies. It's just that it allowed you the option of running, and it encouraged you to run in many places because of the melee combat. It's not as refined as Resident Evil's firearm based combat, so you have no choice but to run sometimes. But there were always a shit ton of enemies in these games, and it's funny how people forget them. They don't play the game for 15 or 20 years and then they think they know something, they think they remember it, and no, you're misremembering it. You're remembering it completely wrong. Silent Hill was always full of enemies. in every single area. That's just the way the series operates. Product only available in selected areas of Silent Hill. Raw material is White Claudia, a plant peculiar to the region. Manufactured here? Question mark. Dealer equals manufacturer? Question mark. Something on it. Yeah, so they were doing an investigation, so obviously people are dealing drugs here. People mistake that because they think the drug itself is called White Claudia. It's really not. And that actually is a misconception that unfortunately Bloober team propagated in Silent Hill 2 Remake when you pick up the bottle called White Claudia for that alternate ending. And the ending is kind of weird in itself. It's one of those Twilight Zone endings that doesn't really fit even in Silent Hill. But the thing is, it's not White Claudia. The actual drug is called PTV. White Claudia is just the regular amount. I mean the regular material used to produce it. The plant. Damn, Harry is really out of breath. He is struggling there. He's struggling harder than Vader being beaten down by Kenobi in that Obi-Wan series where he was whipping his ass. Vader was just wheezing all over the place. He couldn't handle Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan beat him decisively too after Vader thought he had killed him, and no, Obi-Wan comes back and whips his ass. If I were Vader, that would have been the moment where I say, you know what, Obi-Wan, you win. I'm turning against the Emperor. I'll give the rebellion any information it wants, because that ass whooping was too epic. And I don't even like Kenobi that much. The character, I'm not a big fan of Obi-Wan. I respect what he is. I respect him. I respect his legacy, but I'm not a huge fan of I'm not a huge fan of the character itself or himself. But he whipped Vader's ass in that series, like outright. He just destroyed him. Like Vader beat him the first time because he had the element of surprise, and Kenobi was out of practice. He hadn't done any real fighting in like 10 years, or 8 years. So he was out of practice. But once he got his mojo back, he beat Vader down. And Vader's lucky he didn't kill him, because he had the shot perfectly right there to kill him. Like I said, if I was Vader in that situation, that would be the point where I just give up and say, you know what, Obi-Wan, you win. I'm turning over. I'll give you everything I have on the Emperor. Because that ass whooping was too great. Damn, Harry's still not recovered. Jesus. This man would be dead if he were real life. He'd be down on the ground for like a heart attack or something. Or an asthma attack. I guess he did run the equivalent of like 5 miles in like 15 minutes. But damn, Harry, you're only 32. It's like Alan Wake. Alan Wake is only like 32 or 34 years old, and Alan Wake went and he has the stamina of an 85-year-old man who smokes. It's insane. Like the cigarettes took him down. He's not that much better in the second game either. But at least he has the excuse of cigarettes. What excuse does Harry have? Come on, man. Damn, he is really struggling. Jesus. Let's just read the note. There's a memo on the desk. Coroner Seals called. Officer Gucci is unlikely to be murdered. He apparently died naturally. But medical records show Officer Gucci had no prior symptoms of heart disease. Yeah, right. Obviously, he did not die naturally. So that character, Officer Gucci, appeared in Silent Hill 1, the movie. But unfortunately, they messed up his character. They tried to make him noble, which I guess kinda sorta worked, but then also the story around it was messed up in a bad way, so like he didn't really have the impact that he could have had. If he'd rescued a certain someone and the circumstances were the ones in this game, instead of the bullshit they came up with for the movie, it might have played better. I'm just saying it might have played better if they had stuck close to the story here and made a greater impact. Because as you'll see later on, the police in this town are actually a huge problem of why this town has fallen to shit and why it's now being overtaken by supernatural stuff. They played a big role too, so You also find out more about that in Origins, which I know most people don't consider Origins to be strictly canon, but they did have some insight from Konami there, so some of those details are probably correct. It might be considered a what if scenario, but some of the details do fit with what we learned in this game, so I consider them canon just because it fits the setting perfectly. I don't think Harry's gonna recover anytime soon, so we might as well move on to the hospital because he is struggling here. We're also going to be heading out over here later on the Silent Hill Town Center. God damn! Get off me, Dr. Zaius. Some people complain about the monster design in this game too, but it's like it wasn't supposed to be all psychological at first. There's some... God damn. It's a freaking monkey gangbang. Get off me, Dr. Zaius. Ah, damn, he killed him? Shit. We did save in the police station, right? Oh, nice. Thank God we made that save, or else we'd be screwed. We'd have to replay the whole past 25 minutes of the game. Maybe the reason he's not recovering is because we're wounded. Let's see. Maybe if we take some medicine, he'll be alright. Let's see. Oh yeah, I guess he was just dying. Never mind then. I thought it was like Alan Wake where he had no stamina. And it's like, no, he was actually legitimately dying. Sorry, Harry. I did not know you were actually on death's door for that moment. Let's get out of the Planet of the Apes here. God damn! It's unfair how they take those long ass strides too, because then it's just impossible for you to escape from them. Look at that shit. He's covering like 6 feet with every jump. How can you fight that? You can't. You just have to duck into the nearby building and just hope that you can get there in time. We're still on caution. It's fine. At least the hospital should give us some relief. Some. So yeah, like I said, Silent Hill has always been full of enemies, and you're seeing it right here. These monkeys are everywhere, so I don't know where the hell people get the whole, oh, Silent Hill was always about rare encounters. Rare my ass. Like they've always been there. Look at this shit. There's this freaking dog in the middle of the gate. Look at it. We enter the hospital. We go 1 inch past the gate. There's already a dog there waiting to greet us so he can bite us. So this game is full of enemies. I don't know what the hell people are talking about when they think, oh, there were only 1 or 2 monsters per each section. Yeah, right. There were like 10. Like I said, I think people just completely misremember. They just don't remember stuff. They think they do, but they actually don't. They don't remember what these games were actually like because it's been so long since they played them. It's been like 15 or 20 years, so they just don't remember how the games actually were. They have an image of it in their minds that doesn't actually match up with what is actually reality. So we're in the hospital now, which is one of my favorite, if not the favorite section of the game for me in this entire game. I like that long before the remakes for Resident Evil, they actually had this hospital here with actual plausible portraits of what you would find in hospital places like this. poster here always got a bit of attention. This is actually a lady with her breast exposed, but it's actually a mammogram warning, basically, telling you to take care of yourself. So that's stuff that you would find in a hospital. I don't know if she'd be exposed like that, but you would find that type of warning in a hospital. Here you have stuff about the nurses. Obviously, in Silent Hill 2 Remake, we see stuff about psychological disturbances and anxiety and depression and stuff like that. So it's nice that they actually, the team was thinking of how to put, you know, the team was thinking of what stuff would actually fit in a plausible setting. They weren't just throwing stuff in there for the hell of it, like the Resident Evil team, where half the stuff in Raccoon City makes no freaking sense whatsoever. That freaking battery behind the statue of the mayor, for one thing. And you know, obviously it's pixelated because this is 1999 technology in the PS1. Somehow I don't think this poster will survive to the Silent Hill 1 remake. I just don't see it being in there, but yeah, this is the type of stuff you'll see in a hospital. Flyers and posters warning people about different illnesses, so why not? You know, it makes it feel more like an actual hospital rather than a video game set piece. I think we're gonna meet another character here, Dr. Kaufman, who is to put it plainly, not a very good guy at all. Yep, there it is right there, next to the old pterodactyl head. Damn, he's got a silencer in that gun? Thinks he's Solid Snake. People always find this funny.
Hold it. Stop. Don't shoot. Wait. I'm not here to fight.
After he already shot him.
My name is
And
Henry Mason. I'm in town
how do
on
you miss at
vacation.
2 feet? Jesus, Kaufman, how do you miss at 2 fucking feet?
Do you work here?
I'm Dr. Michael Kaufman. I work at this hospital.
So maybe you can tell me what's going on.
I really can't say. I was taking a nap in the staff room. When I woke up, it was like this. Everyone seems to have disappeared. And it's snowing out, this time of year. Something's gone seriously wrong. Did you see those monsters? Have you ever seen such aberrations? Ever even heard of such things? You and I both know creatures like that don't exist.
Yeah. Have you seen a little girl anywhere? I'm looking for my daughter. She's only 7. Short, black hair.
She's missing. I'm sorry. But with all those monsters around, I highly doubt that she's... Sorry, I didn't mean to alarm you. Your wife, she's here with you?
She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter.
I see. I'm sorry. Well, I'd better be going. I can't just sit around here doing nothing.
So long. Good luck out there.
Yeah, that sounds like a likely story. Suspicious suit guy. Where are you going anyway? You already said it's full of monsters. Are you really gonna go out there and fight them all? And how did that damn pterodactyl get in here? Did that thing literally open up the door, walk all the way through the hospital just to get shot in this room? Like, where the hell did that thing even come from? That makes no sense. Like, did it follow Kaufman from outside? What the hell? That makes no sense how that thing got in there. It's like when you see a spider or something, or another wild animal in a place where it really shouldn't be. It's like, where the hell did that thing come from? There's a newspaper. This article's been clipped out. You know, why is there a spider under my car? You know, and under the steering wheel? Why is there a mysterious cat in my house when I don't own a cat? That's the type of stuff. Like where the hell did that pterodactyl come from? Because there's no way to get in here. There's no windows. You know, the gate outside is locked unless he just left the door open like a dumbass when he was running in there, and then the pterodactyl followed him inside. Like, how the hell did this creature even get in there? It makes no freaking sense. People like to make fun of Kaufman's dialogue too, like how it sounds corny and cheesy. Like you and I know creatures like that don't exist, but the thing is, he's obviously covering up for something, so I don't think he's gonna be the best liar to begin with, because he's obviously he obviously knows something. Even if I haven't played this game before, but I've played it many times, but even when I hadn't played it, I already suspected him from the very beginning. You just don't wake up here in a place like this not knowing what the hell happened. Alright, so let's check the hospital then. I don't have the map for this place. Was the map outside? I thought we did get the map for the yeah, I thought we did get the map for the hospital. Did we miss it? Let's go back. Okay, so that's a conference room. There's nothing there. How do we get back to the main lobby? Because I have the feeling we missed something important. So that's jammed. Like in Spaceballs. They're coming up with a sequel to that too. They just announced a teaser trailer. It didn't show us anything obviously, but it did state that Rick Moranis is coming back, which is very good to hear, because that was my biggest concern, that he was such a big part of the original Spaceball, being Dark Helmet, that it would not be the same without him. No matter what other character they got to have the villain, got to play the villain, they could have freaking Pedro Pascal as a villain and it still wouldn't feel right without Rick Moranis. So I'm glad to see us back, and hopefully the movie's actually good. Because Mel Brooks has made some stinkers in his time. He's made some pretty damn great movies. Legendary movies like Spaceball and Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein. But he's also made a couple of stinkers now and then. Including the animated series for Spaceballs that aired on G4. That thing sucked. So even though it had the original cast, it still sucked. So hopefully this one is good. Oh, so there's the map. So we couldn't get it because we couldn't reach over the counter. Because Harry can reach over the counter 2 feet to grab that map like a dumbass. I wonder if in the remake he really will just reach over the counter and grab it, because that makes no sense. You know, it makes no sense for modern games. Like for PS1 days, obviously you're limited by the technology here. You can't have a character doing anything more than a few basic moves, but in a modern remake, nah. It's a plastic bottle. Take it? Sure. We can collect some stuff to throw at the monsters. Maybe there's acid around. Or maybe Harry can throw bottles of piss at them, the way Rock does when he stores his piss in bottles. I heard that story, and it's one of those things that once you hear it, you can never unhear it. So I'm sharing it with all of you guys. That The Rock apparently uses bottles to relieve himself when he's exercising, so that he does not waste a single moment of his time, and he doesn't have to leave the elliptical machine or whatever he's using. Why he would do that, I'm not sure, because it only takes you like a minute to use the bathroom. But that's how he is. So this is one thing I'm going to tell you. This actually relates to not a secret ending, but pretty much the good ending. You have to collect this bottle here. There's something spilled on the floor. A glass vial lies shattered. It's not just broken, it looks smashed on purpose. So someone didn't want anyone to use that red liquid. So what you're supposed to do here for the ending, and we're going to do it even though I'm not sure which ending I'm going to get yet, we're going to collect it here. The remaining liquid is emptied into the plastic bottle. Now what have we here? One reason a lot of people say the good ending is the canon ending of this game, as opposed to the good plus ending, is because of this bottle right here. Because how would you know that you have to pick that up? Like, you would think if you examine it, oh, it's just like a pot of blood, like in Resident Evil. You know, you don't really know you have to pick it up and put it in the bottle unless you really guessed. And back in 1999, we were all kids playing this game, so we were not gonna guess. So it makes more sense that Harry wouldn't suspect that that liquid is vitally important either, and he has to pick it up. You just think, oh, it's smashed, it has bits of glass in it, it's useless, there's nothing to be done with it. And no, you have to pick it up because this is the only way you can get the good plus ending. Quote unquote, the best ending. You have to pick up this liquid, otherwise you're screwed. Red liquid found in a broken vial in the hospital director's room. So yeah, how would you know to do that? You know, in your first playthrough. Obviously you know what to do in the second, but how would you know that doing the first? So that's one argument and reason why people use it as evidence that the good ending is the canon one, not the good plus ending. But we'll see all that stuff later on. I like how they just blurred the title of what's obviously supposed to be a Coca-Cola ripoff, instead of trying to make some fake ass brand like Capcom does in RE3 in the hospital vending machine there, where they sell something called Juicy Raccoon. Who the hell will buy a drink called Juicy Raccoon for their kids? That does not sound like a fun time. Oh, you want some Juicy Raccoon? It's warm. That does not sound like an enjoyable drink. So just do generic soda at that point. If you can't get a sponsorship or permission from the company, just do generic soda instead of trying to make up some bullshit brand. Oh shit, here we come. Oh, is that a roach? God damn. Harry, shoot these things. God damn, foot-long roaches. Why are they so huge? It's like prehistoric roaches. And the scary thing is, people, if you look at the fossil record, there were actually roaches this size back in prehistoric times. They all died out. The small ones survived. Those are the only ones that remained, but there were actually roaches this big in prehistoric times. So imagine if those had survived and these were the ones getting into your house. They'd probably be in Australia, right? That's where all the crazy animals are. The elevator doesn't appear to be working. We need power. Yeah, imagine if you had to deal with these foot-long roaches in modern day times. You would be terrified, right? You'd move the hell out of that house, out of that area, and never come back. You imagine going into your kitchen in the middle of the night or at 2 or 3 a.m. and seeing this on the counter. You would die of a heart attack right there. Killed by roach. Okay, so yeah, the generator room. Oh, this is where we find the hammer, I think. Oh damn, not yet. We gotta go to the alternate generator room in the other world. The in-house generator powers elevators, ICUs, and operating rooms only. Do you want to press the switch? Yes. Yeah, we don't have the hammer just yet. It's the other generator room, the one in the alternate world. All right, let's go to floor 2. Also, I guess as long as you have adequate light, you can't turn on the flashlight. That kind of sucks. Because this game is very blurry, obviously, or very grainy. It's a PS1 game with not the best graphics. So, I'm glad it's getting a remake. I just wish they would port this one over so that people wouldn't complain. That way we would have both versions. Ultimately, I think it's going to come down to GOG putting this game on PC. GOG, I think there was going to be 3 responsible because they did Silent Hill 2 and I think they did 2, 3, and 4. And now they're doing they also did the Resident Evil games 1, 2, and 3, the original, the OG RE games, those REs instead of the remakes. So they did those, so it's probably going to come down to GOG. I think Konami already gave them permission for Silent Hill 4, and they actually fixed the haunting there, which is one reason why I'm going to download that game and play it again in a video later on eventually, because they did fix it. There were some notable flaws in that game for years that nobody could fix, you know, or else you would need to install like a patch to restore the missing hauntings and fix some of the cutscene issues and issues with the sound, I think, and stuff like that, and they repaired all that on GOG. So yeah, I have to get the GOG version of Silent Hill 4 and play that eventually. Oh, there's a new floor. That I never got that as a kid. The first time I played this, that completely flew over my head. The fact that you had floor number 4, which was there just now, and it wasn't there before a few seconds ago. You know, it wasn't there. Who is this? She's going into the antique store. Maybe to buy some antiques? You never know. But yeah, it just didn't dawn on me that the hospital suddenly added a completely different floor. I noticed it on the second playthrough though. And the lore behind the hospital floor number 4 being nowhere is that apparently the number 4 is a bad luck number in Japanese culture, or so I've heard. In American culture it's Friday the 13th, and yesterday was Friday the 13th. That's considered an unlucky day, but in Japanese culture, it's not the number 13, it's the number 4 that you want to be aware of, which is why apparently a lot of office buildings and hospitals and stuff like that in Japan don't have the number 4. And they go straight from 3 to 5. They do not want to have a 4th floor there under any circumstances. They do not want to tempt fate. It's locked with an exclamation mark, so we can't get out. Yeah, I learned all sorts of things about Japanese culture playing this game way back in 1999 that I did not know before. Because Metal Gear, as much as I enjoyed Metal Gear, and I greatly enjoyed that game, it is very much like a Western set, you know. It's a Japanese game, but its affinity is pretty much Western action movies through and through. Like, it is fully a Westernized action movie. But because this is horror, Silent Hill has a lot more opportunity, along with games like Fatal Frame, to actually incorporate elements of Japanese mythology and urban legends and stuff like that into its games. So you can see a lot of stuff here and find a lot of stuff in these games that you won't see anywhere else. Same thing for Fatal Frame. You know, there's stuff there that you will not see in any American horror game, period. because it's not an American setting, it's a Japanese setting, and so you can explore those actual themes. So that's a lot of, that's one reason why a lot of people like J horror. They like getting that glimpse into like a slice of Japanese life without actually having to go over to Japan. And it's done under the premise of a horror movie too, so you also have the suspense of rooting for the characters not to die most of the time. Okay, so let's see if we can go all the way to the basement, because I want to get that emergency hammer. Oh hell no. I guarantee you those nurses are going to be able to open doors in the remake for sure. I guarantee you they're not just going to let you walk away. They will open doors the same way enemies in the Silent Hill 2 remake do and pursue you. God damn. Friggin' dog. That actually scared me for a bit. Some freaking dumbass dog outside. I don't know why he's barking. It's not our dog, it's somebody else's dog. I don't know why he's barking. But yeah, it just sounded loud. Cause goddamn, I haven't heard a dog that loud in months. It's gotta be a big one. Yeah, these doctors, you wanna watch out for them, because even though they move slow, you know, they are deadly with that knife. Like, that knife will easily put you in critical condition in 2 swipes, so you want to be careful with these. These are by far some of the most dangerous enemies in the game, even though they seem like they move very, very slow. The interesting thing also about these doctors and the nurses is that if you see the original Masahiro Ito drawing that he did for them, the original artwork, these things are grotesque. These are not manifestations of the town as we see it later on in Silent Hill 2 and 3. These, as far as I'm aware, according to the lore, these are actual doctors and nurses possessed by those parasites and taken over. So those are actual human beings who are basically just enslaved to that parasite on their back. And in the original artwork, the parasite is huge, so you really can't get the actual the full scope of what this thing does to people seeing it here because of the primitive PS1 graphics. But those parasites are huge. They're just huge humps on their back. Okay, we got 2 locked doors. Can we go in here? We can. Oh shit. Screw it, let's just use a freaking shotgun. Let's shoot him. This was so scary when I first played this as a kid. And I'm sure for a lot of other people it's the same. Like, this was we had never seen anything like this in a horror game. We'd seen Resident Evil with its decayed lab and, you know, dilapidated hallways, stuff like that, but we had never seen anything like this. Just pure hell. Blood and rust covered walls. Everything looks like it's burnt. Actual human beings turned into puppets like this. We had never seen anything like this in a horror game. Hell no. This place is infested. Where's the generator room? God, this is not the generator room. No wonder. Shit, no wonder we're in a bad situation here. We gotta go back down to the Oh, because wait a minute, we can't go back down, right? Oh, I see. Never mind. So all this stuff is locked. Okay, so I see now. We can't go back there. We can go in here. I'm just gonna bypass him. Because we have the perfect weapon for dealing with this without resorting to the shotgun. The nurses are slightly less dangerous, but they're still pretty dangerous if you're not careful. Don't let that hunched over granny look fool you. They are still plenty dangerous. Just like the nurses in 3 and 4. Oh, here we go. Here's our baby. It's hammer time. Best weapon in the game next to the katana and the hyper blaster. Here we go. And it has some crunch. Emergency hammer. Highly damaging but hard to use. Come on, Harry. It ain't hard to use. You just swing it. That's it. Just swing. That's all you do. The generator is on. Let's take this baby for a spin. Here we go. Where is she? There we go. Look at that. Look at this bullshit. Damn. Thing is brutal. Come here, bitch. It's time. Oh, damn. Yeah. Sometimes you want to do the combo instead of doing the whole overhand swing. Because you would think this would have more effort. It would have more of an effect on enemies. But no. Actually, you want to do this one. You want to do the that way. The sideways swing. That deals massive damage. This thing is overpowered. I read some people saying they don't want them to change it. That makes sense. But low-key, I don't think they're going to change it. I think what they're going to do is they'll probably just make the enemies tougher. And so that's the way they get around that. Instead of changing the hammer and making it, you know, less useful, instead of making it weak, they just made the enemy stronger. Oh, here they come from both sides. Oh, goddamn, it's an ambush. We might need the gun for this one. Yeah, we might need the gun for that one. Because, those bitches are not playing. So we're gonna gun one of them down first. God damn, get off me, woman. Oh, here we go. Grab the hammer, Harry. There we go. Damn, look at that. It's just overpowered. They just have no chance. It's almost unfair. That thing has some oomph to it. Like Heather would say in Silent Hill 3. She thought that mace was impressive. The mace is nothing compared to this. Like the maul, as she calls it, that's a piece of shit compared to this. And that maul is actually useful against the slurper enemies, the ones that crawl along on the ground. The maul is actually pretty useful against them, but it's difficult to use against any other enemy. But this thing... So that's locked. And that is locked and jammed. So let's see, did we cover everything? Believe we did, so... Okay, so now we can tackle the first floor, now that we have the hammer. Yeah, this hospital will be probably terrifying in the remake for sure. Alchemilla was always my favorite hospital in the series. I didn't really like Brookhaven that much, even though it has its place, and they made some parts of it pretty interesting in the Silent Hill 2 remake. It was never my favorite. My favorite was always Alchemilla. Hell, god damn it! Take that, you fool! I was about to say hell yeah, but he actually got me with one. Oh, we gotta find a safe spot too. Because I just realized we're at an hour 43 minutes, and the longer the recording becomes, recording from the PS3 for some reason uses up a lot of memory on the laptop. God damn. You know what, let's shoot his ass once. Just once. And we'll finish him off with the hammer. Like I said, this thing better be in a remake. This thing, it is overpowered, but like I said, it is a classic weapon in the series. Like, this is still my favorite, probably handheld weapon in the series. Next to the katana, you get the bonus weapon you get in that one house. I think that's my favorite. This is definitely by far my second favorite. Just a very, very useful weapon. Okay, we had the director's office. There might be a safe spot inside there. Inside the other office. Oh, look, there's one right there. Never mind them. What the hell is that? Got a plate of queen. Take it. There we go. That's where Silent Hill started its tradition of tile-based puzzles. So we're gonna save here because that'll be it. I don't want to risk the recording. We're at an hour 42 minutes so far. I don't want to risk it getting like over 30 gigabytes and then it just eats up too much memory on the laptop. Because I forgot to clear out all the stuff I uploaded before, so I gotta go do that. But yeah, there we go. Silent Hill 1. We've covered half of the hospital. There's still another half left, but we're gonna do that later. I think if I hadn't gotten lost during that first 15 or 20 minutes trying to find that other house, so we could get to the actual chapel or the church. If we hadn't gotten lost there trying to find that other pathway to the church, I probably could have gone a little further into the hospital, at least until you meet Lisa, who's a character we're gonna meet in a little while. But yeah, there's just too much left to cover. We still got 2 whole floors to explore, and searching for that route to the Balkan church took up a lot of our time that we probably shouldn't have wasted. So when we come back next time in a couple days, I might do some Metal Gear Solid first. We'll actually get back here and then we'll finish off Alchemilla Hospital, and then I think we head for the shopping mall. I don't think you can access the map. Yeah, I don't think you can access the outside map here. Since we're in the hospital, I don't think you can do it. Let's see. No, I think we gotta step outside, but we gotta head to that shopping center. What is it? The Silent Hill Shopping Center or something like that? Silent Hill Community Center. I was gonna say Shopping Hill Community Center. Like, is it Silent Hill Shopping Center or something like that? But it's the mini mall that we did not explore. After this, we actually go over there and explore that for a bit before we get to our second boss fight. But yeah, what can I say? Like I said, I hope they port this game eventually, especially since it's being released. I mean, they're making a remake of it, which will probably get released in like 2027 or something, because this year obviously belongs to Silent Hill F, and then next year is probably Townfall, because people have speculated that they may be aiming for yearly releases. So Silent Hill 2 remake, Silent Hill F, Silent Hill Townfall, and then Silent Hill 1 remake. So that will put it at the 2027 mark earliest. So I find that pretty plausible, because they already have the game engine, they already have the combat system, they just have to improve it a bit and differentiate it from James so that Harry has his own feel, but it's not that much hard work. And then the story is basically already written out for them, so they have a lot of stuff already done, but they still got to take a lot of time to actually properly start planning the different sections and seeing how you're going to update all the modern settings, how you're going to update all the settings in the game into modern versions of themselves. Like I said, the most I'm looking forward to is Alchemilla Hospital, this one, and Midwich Elementary School, because I think those two settings could be nightmarish in today's graphics. But until then, since it's going to be at least 2.5 years, I wish they'd port this game over to PS4 and PS5 so that I didn't have to play it on the PS3, because low-key I have no idea when this console is going to die. It could be a few days from now, it could be 3 years from now, but either way I know its time is limited, so I'd rather not be left without a way to actually play the game. Because remember, I told you at the beginning of the recordings in the very first video, I tried to play it on PS2. I tried to record from there and something is messed up with that disc, so that did not work. I know those discs tend to suffer from disc rot, because WB made a big deal about that a few months ago, when it turns out all their DVDs are suffering from disc rot, so there's no salvaging many of them. I know the same thing happens to CDs, so maybe the disc is just scratched or something, I don't know, but I'd rather not be left without a way to actually play this comfortably. Not on my computer, not on my laptop, on an actual console. And it would literally cost them nothing. Like, I understand they may have lost the source code, which is a hassle for remastering it, but just port it over, just port the damn thing over. If you give it to a team like Bluepoint, like that's exactly what they did for the Metal Gear Solid 2 HD collection. They didn't rebuild that thing from scratch using the source code, they just reverse engineered it from a retail copy. So there's ways around it if Konami is willing to put up the time and effort, but I just wish they would port them all the classic games pretty much to PS4 and PS5 so we could finally have them. And obviously the Xbox fans would want to play them, and even the PC fans would have them, actual proper ports instead of the crappy ports they did many years ago. So hopefully the news of the remake also inspires them to do that, and they can actually give us this game on a modern console so we can enjoy it. But for now, I guess it's fine playing it on the PS3. The only thing I recommend is I'm playing on full screen mode for this one, so that the recording better captures everything that's going on. I do not recommend playing full screen mode on your own, because trust me, the game looks much better in 4:3. If you put it on 4:3, it looks less washed out, it looks like less pixelated, it just overall looks more nice on 4:3 than it does in full screen mode. But because we're recording this for YouTube, obviously I have to use full screen mode. But if you're gonna play it on PS3, I definitely recommend do not use full screen mode. Just leave it as is normally, because the difference is night and day. It obviously doesn't look great because it's almost a 30-year-old game, but it does look much better in the resolution for 4:3 than it does in full screen. That's the only suggestion I have. Just don't play it in full screen, just play it the way it is normally, and it'll probably look a lot better for you. But like I said, that's it for now. I'll pick this back up again in a few days, and we'll proceed further into the story after we finish Alchemilla. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time on Silent Hill 1 on the good old-fashioned PS3. See you later, everyone.